Hello there, I'm Thomas Hatsios, the pilot, the British-American pilot flying the Boeing 777-300 ERX in tonight's flight from Zurich International Airport. We're going to be overflying Zurich, Switzerland, and Germany, and then coming back to Switzerland and Zurich International Airport, runway 14 for an Lszh localizer landing. So right now I'm in the cockpit for the pre-takeoff preparation of the Boeing 777-300 ER airplane of the PMDG simulations and the Microsoft Flight Simulator X. So I'm gonna start showing you inside the cockpit the instruments of the Boeing 777-300 ER aircraft, like the primary flight display, the navigation display, the upper and the lower engine indication and crew alert system display. I'm gonna show you the autopilot and flight director system panel. I'm gonna show you the overhead panel, the electrical system, the hydraulic system, the electronic engine control system, the left and the right fuel tanks in the left and the right wing, and also the fuel pump, and also the fuel, the center fuel tank and the fuel pumps for the center tank, and also we have the wing and engine cavities. We have the cabin pressurization system and the bleed air from the engine. So I'm gonna start showing you the primary flight display. That displays the airspeed indicated, the target airspeed selected from the autopilot and flight director system panel for the flight guidance of the aircraft, the barometric altitude above the sea level displayed. Right now we have 1,430 feet, and also the target altitude selected from the autopilot and flight director system panel displayed with magenta color or purple. So we have also the rate of climb and descent state in the primary flight display, intense 100,000 feet per minute, radio altitude above the ground level, the barometric pressure setting, and display. We have the magnetic heading and we have the magnetic heading or track. We have the magnetic north pole and the true north pole, and the magnetic variation depending on where we are in the world. We have the altitude indicator that displays the horizontal and vertical altitude of the aircraft as it flies, with the pitch ladder in degrees and the bank angle limit in degrees. And also we have the flight director crossbars for the flight, for the manual flight guidance of the aircraft. We have the autopilot and flight director system crossbars for the automatic guidance of the aircraft in the Lszh localizer. For an Lszh localizer landing, we have also the angle of attack of the aircraft. We have the flight mode annunciator that displays the autopilot and the auto throttle later on the vertical navigation mode. And also we have the navigation display. So I'm gonna start showing you all these things. You can see here we have the primary flight display with the flight mode annunciator, the navigation display, the upper and the lower ACAS engine indication, the crew alert system display, the autopilot and flight director system panels, the flight management computers. We're gonna use to input the data of the aircraft and create the route the aircraft is we're gonna follow manually or automatically. The overhead panel. I'm gonna show you all the systems one by one. So the navigation display displays we have the weather radar and the terrain display, the terrain reflections from the weather radar. We have the airports displayed. We have the terrain map display with the airports, the waypoints, the navigation aids, and also the IDF and the NDB. We have the GPS inertial position reference of the aircraft with the magnetic heading or track. Again, we have the magnetic north pole and true north pole, the magnetic variation. We have also the airports and actually we have our own airport. We have the departure and the arrival airport, and we create a route using the flight management computer. We input the intermediate waypoints for the later on vertical navigation of the aircraft and the departure and arrival runways. We also have other aircraft flying around us displayed using the TICA system, the traffic collision alert system. We have the direction and the altitude of the other aircraft. We can see also the wing direction and magnitude of the ANP and the RNP, the acquired navigation performance and the required navigation performance. We also have the next waypoint we're going to have to overfly. So I'm gonna start maybe we have like a few more minutes. So we have also the autopilot and flight director system panel. Over here we have the navigation display, the upper and the lower ACAS displays, primarily the thrust levers position, the thrust from the engines and the other engine indications. We have also the radio and communication panel here. I'm gonna show you all the systems. We have the control of the flight controls here, and control yoke of the Boeing 777 300ER airplane, the rudder pedals. So we have the overhead panel. I'm gonna show you the systems so you can see the autopilot and flight director system panel. Contains the autopilot engage and disengage switches, the flight director engage and disengage switches, the autothrottle left and the autothrottle right engage and disengage switches, the airspeed select mode switch for the thrust guidance of the aircraft using fixed thrust modes like the climb continues, or use it for the climb of the aircraft from takeoff to the cruise altitude. And also we have the idle fixed thrust mode, so we have fixed thrust for climb or descent. Use it for the descent of the aircraft from the cruise altitude to the approach. And also we have the speed guidance of the aircraft for the airspeed of the aircraft in variable thrust mode. Use it for cruising or for approach and landing. So we have also the flight level change switch. We have the auto throttle for the speed of all the fixed thrust modes, and also we have the climb continues. We have the LNAV and the VNAV, the later navigation and the vertical navigation of the aircraft using the flight management computer. But I'm gonna show you later. We input all the data of the aircraft, like its weight, its fuel, also other factors like the center of gravity and the trim of the aircraft in the flat position for takeoff and then for flying, and also the departure and arrival airports and the intermediate route waypoints. So I'm gonna show you also we have the bank limit angle hold switch and the heading select switch. So we have the airspeed select switch and also the heading hold switch. We have the heading select knob, the airspeed select knob, and we have the rate of climb descent of the aircraft select slider, and also the hold switch for the VSO with the flight path angle of the aircraft, which is the pneumatic degrees, or the rate of climb descent is 10,000 or 100 feet per minute. And you can see here we have the altitude select, we have the airspeed, the heading, and the rate of climb and descent. We have also the altitude select knob and the altitude hold switch. I'm gonna start training most of the systems now of the Boeing 777-300ER aircraft. Then I'm gonna show you the thrust levers. And then I'm gonna show you the flight controls. I'm gonna also show you the overhead panels, the system of the overhead panels, like the electrical, the integrated drive generators for the electrical system, the IDTs, the hydraulic pumps, the fuel pumps and valves, and also the engine start system. So I'm gonna start with the primary flight display right now. You can see here we have how I told you. So we have about a few more minutes to go for that. So we have like 1 hour more for this flight. So you can see the airspeed select here. Over here displayed with purple for the airspeed caveats. We have also the airspeed indicated right now is 30, not the minimum airspeed indicated, but the actual ground speed is 0, so the aircraft is not moving. So you can see we have selected 200. We have selected here is the barometric altitude above the sea level, 1,430 feet. With this barometric standard pressure of 29.92 inches of mercury. So we can reset that depending on the barometric pressure of the outside atmosphere. We have 10,000 feet here selected for the altitude guidance of the aircraft, and 360 degrees here for the heading of the aircraft. So the radio altitude is 2 feet above the ground level, the actual altitude of the aircraft above the ground. So we have the flight director crossbar, the pitch here in degrees. You can see 2.5 degrees tick marks up all the way, 2.5, 5, 7.5, 10, 12.5, 15, 20 degrees later. So you can see the degrees also for the bank angle limits and some other limit modes. We have also the rate of climb descent here, tape tens, hundreds of thousands of feet per minute, like 1,000, 2,000, 6,000 feet per minute. So we can reset that, the barometric pressure altitude. Here you can see the FIS panel, the Transite Instrument System panel. We can select hectopascal instead of inches of mercury, so you will see the hectopascal 1030 hectopascal displayed here. So I'm gonna see now the rest of the instruments. So you can see the range is about approximately right now is 40 nautical miles. You can reset that. You will see at different rates in the radar display for the weather and the radar scan here of the active beam scan of the radar. We also have other aircraft flying around us. We have the airports and the waypoints, the navigation database of the aircraft. We have the track or magnetic heading. We have the wind and the ground speed of the aircraft, the next waypoint we're gonna fly. So this is the inertial reference position. You can see here the terrain displayed with green, red and yellow. We have the terrain levels 6,700 feet with red arrow is approximately with yellow 1,430 feet, and some valleys here displayed with green with 0 feet. So we have also rivers, lakes, the sea also displayed further away from us. Perhaps you can see that will be displayed with blue colors. So we see we have also the traffic. So this is the flight mode annunciator, which displays the takeoff, go around, arm switch now in the LNAV and VNAV. So we create the route using the flight management computer. You will see it later here. So we have the required navigation performance and the acquired navigation performance here, 1 nautical mile. The acquired is better, and the GPS position 0.07 nautical miles. All these inertial all this data in inertial reference position, like the airspeed, the pitot static for the airspeed, the barometric altitude and the pitot dynamic tube sensors for the airspeed of the aircraft, and also the rate of climb descent using the differential between the two, the radio altitude, the magnetic heading on track, and the magnetic north pole and true north pole magnetic variation, the laser gyroscopes of the aircraft for the gyroscopic acceleration, deceleration rates, and the inertial reference position using the GPS receivers. We have a switch over here in the overhead panel. I'm going to show you now the ADIRU, the Air Data Inertial Reference Unit, that manages and displays all this information, also the angle of attack of the aircraft. So you can see here we have in the overhead panel this small switch here above the electrical, the ADIRU over here. So this is what I'm gonna show you also this view. So we have this nicer view here of the panel inside the cockpit. So you can see again the inertial reference, the barometric and anemometric data, the altitude of the aircraft. So this is being managed by this small switch here, the ADIRU. So we have a few more minutes the ADIRU system here. So we have also the primary flight control computers, the thrust symmetry compensator, the electrical, the APU here. I'm gonna have to turn on the APU later. So maybe we can start now. We have the left and right electrical generators. So you can see also the autopilot panel here in a flat in a more flat view with all these panels. So this is the Boeing 7 again. So I'm gonna come again one more time in the other view, show you a little bit more about this is the autopilot and the flight director system panel. I'm gonna show you now. Also we have here the thrust levers. So we have about an hour left for this flight. So you can see here we have we can select for instance the flight level change. This switch is the airspeed select node. We can select or deselect it and press. This is the press ball also. We have the flight director on and off like this. This switch here, and we can depress this again. We're gonna have a different airspeed view, and then we can reset the airspeed. So this is for the takeoff go around setting, 180 knots. So we can arm and disarm the auto throttle. You will see the view here, the disarm, the auto throttle left for now. So we have also the autopilot engaged and disengaged. We have the LNAV and the VNAV. So we have engaged now this airspeed indicated airspeed or Mach. You can select either. We have the heading. We have the bank angle limit here in degrees. We can select and deselect this, also the press ball. We will select the runway we're gonna use for takeoff. This heading like 136 degrees. We're gonna select the hold also. We have the vertical rate of climb and descent here. I'm gonna say later, and this is for the tens of the thousand. This is the altitude we're gonna use for flying, like 10,000 and 100. We can select also this either flight level change, altitude. So we can select the heading and the hold switch. You will see now the new setting 252. The airspeed select with purple. Heading, hold, flight level change. We have the flight director manual guidance and 35,300 feet the altitude, and here's the heading selected now, 136 degrees. Our own heading right now is about approximately 370 degrees magnetic. So we can select either the altitude like this, the altitude hold instead of the flight level change, so it will follow a different guidance mode after takeoff. The altitude hold in the heading hold switch. So we can select again the flight level change and select the autopilot on here. So this switch here is the autopilot on. We can disengage it like this using this switch here. You will hear the warnings. So this is the autopilot engaged. Now we have the autopilot connected. As you can see, the AP display here for the heading hold flight level change. And now we can change the modes either way, or I'm gonna say later. So we have the autopilot again, the altitude, flight level change. We can disconnect the autopilot like this using the autopilot disengage, re-engage it. So I can also, if you see here, this engages the warning here. We have the autopilot disconnected. As you can see in the upper ACAS indication with red, autopilot disconnect. So we engage that switch, we arm the autopilot, cancel the warning. We can come here in the yoke. We use this for steering the aircraft in flight, so we can disarm the autopilot using this small switch. Again, we're gonna have if we arm it, we can disarm it using this small switch here. So we're gonna have the autopilot disconnected again, as you can see. So we can cancel just this warning. We don't need the autopilot for now. We have the thrust levers also here. I'm gonna show you in a couple of seconds. So this is most of the modes. We also have the rate of climb and descent. We have the LNAV, the VNAV. We have the world localizer here for the approach localizer, the Lszh and the approach for the auto land function of the aircraft. We have here is the VS of flight path angle. You can select other trigonometric angle in degrees like descending 3 degrees or climbing like let's say 3.5 degrees, 3.6. You will see here displayed the FPA now engages for the vertical mode. We have also a couple more modes here. So we have also the vertical speed. We have the rate of climb and descent of the aircraft in 1000 or 100 feet per minute. So we can descend 1600 or climb like 2503 2900 feet. So you will select this, you will have this display here. Again, the airspeed, the altitude, the heading will have this here 2900. So we have the hectopascal. Again, we can change into inches of mercury like this. 29.92 standard barometric. So we have we can deselect this and leave it with the heading and the altitude like this. The autopilot flight director system panel I'm gonna grab now in the thrust levers settings here. So I'm gonna show you the thrust levers. I'm gonna show you a couple more system like horizontal tail trim. We also have up to 25 minutes. So we have approximately 35 minutes left. So we have the thrust levers here. You can see the flaps here. So we can move the flaps up and down here. We can select a new position for the flap all the way up or all the way down. This handle here. So we have also this handle here is the speed brake of the aircraft. We can also arm it. So we have this is the auto throttle disconnect switch here for the auto thrust system. It's in case there's the auto throttle in the thrust levers. We have the left and the right engine. We have the takeoff around switch. So you can see here if I move the thrust levers later, so you can have the horizontal tail, the horizontal tail pitch stream of the tail. You can see nose down or nose up displayed. For the horizontal tail position in degrees here. Here's the parking brakes, this panel here. So you have the radio communication panel here. We have the transponder for other aircraft and our aircraft positioning. Also we have the horizontal tail. This is the cutout switch for the CNDR hydraulics system. You see we have a failure in the hydraulic system. The electrical system can be disconnected from the autopilot and the auto throttle auto trim system for the horizontal tail of the aircraft. So we have it in the normal. We can use the cutout also. This is the fuel flow control for the engines. This is the discharge of the fire extinguishers. You can see the settings here of the communications in high frequency VHF or high F, very high frequency or high frequency amplitude modulation also. We have here is the transponder I told you for displaying other aircraft position and also sending our own position. We have the ADS-B and ADS-C transponders. I'm going to show you now the thrust levers and how to use them to increase and decrease the thrust of the engine, and how to fly the aircraft, how to take off, fly, climb, cruise, and descend. I'm going to make the flight later, so I'm going to do this a little bit faster. We use also the flight settings, so I'm going to start with the thrust levers now and show you later the flight controls position. So you can increase the thrust position. You can see we have armed the speed brakes now like this for the Boeing 777-300 ER airplane. so we can move the thrust levers forward. We will disarm the speed brake normally from the idle all the way to the climb position. You can see the settings, the green, the yellow, the red markings. We have the thrust levers commanded position and the actual thrust difference. It takes some time for the engine to pull up and down. We have the N1, which is the low speed, low pressure compressor stage of the turbofan engine. The upper display of the upper engine indication and cruel Lszh systems. As you can see, the N1, which is the low speed, low pressure compressor stage of the turbofan engine. The exhaust gas temperature 104.6% for the takeoff reference. The exhaust gas temperature, the duct pressure, the outflow pressure, the cabin rate for the climb altitude of the aircraft, the total fuel inside the fuel tanks, the flaps lever position, the landing gear, external track. We have the Boeing 777 marking here, so we have a nice aircraft, American made, the American manufacturer Boeing. So it makes magnificent aircraft, very beautiful to fly and very safe. Much better, can say, than the Airbus competitors. So we have the N2 here, which is the high-speed, high-pressure compressor stage of the turbofan engine. We have the fuel flow per engine per hour. We have the oil pressure, oil temperature, oil quantity, and the vibration of the N2 stage of the engine. We have the flight management computer. I'm gonna show you most of the systems of the Boeing 777. So you can see also we have the rate of fuel here. So we can actually do this thrust all the way up. So this displays gives the thrust lever position gives the signal to the FADEX. The FADEX have the full authority. Digital electronic control computers. The FADEX the full authority. Digital electronic control computers that control the engine functions and display and monitor all the indications that we saw, like the N1 with the low speed, low pressure compressor stage of the turbofan turbocharged engine, the exhaust gas temperature. Also the N2, which is the high speed, high pressure compressor stage of the turbofan engine, the oil pressure, oil temperature, the oil quantity, the vibration of the N2 stage of the turbofan engine set in inches the weight. And also it regulates the outflow pressure from the 5th and 9th stage of the turbofan turbocharged engine for relieving an overpressure inside the engine. It opens the outflow valve. Also, when we have another pressure inside the engine, it closes the outflow valve. So it regulates the pressure inside the engine and the speed of the shaft, rotor speed, shaft of the spinners for the blades of the engines of the turbofan. So it regulates the flow of the air inside the engine and also the fuel flow per engine per hour. It optimizes the fuel burn as the aircraft climbs into higher altitudes like 35,000-40,000 feet above the sea level. We have an optimal flight performance with less fuel consumption. So we also have, as I told you, we have one FADEC full authority digital electronic control computer installed per engine, dual channel with dual channel redundancy. If one channel fails, the other take over. We have a digital computer, as well as the N1 low speed, low pressure compressor stage of the engine, and two high pressure stage of the compressor to the engine. We have two shafts, low pressure compressor and turbine, and the high pressure compressor and turbine shaft inside the turbofan spinner. So I'm going to show you the thrust levers. We have also the electronic control computers. So you can see when I move the thrust levers forward, as I told you again, we command a new thrust position. The FADEX take the signal, increase the thrust here. We can also use the thrust reverse. Here I'm going to show you now. So I'm going to show you the thrust reverse now. So we have a new indication. So we have the virtual cockpit here. I'm gonna show you the thrust reverse now, how to engage the thrust reverse. So we use the thrust reverse. We have the thrust levers. In the idle, we can use these levers here. It will command the reverse thrust for the engines, and also we will arm the speed brakes. We will extend the speed brakes. So we have the reverse now displayed over here. So you can see the M1 again, the exhaust temperature, the duct pressure, the total, all the systems indicated. So we have the thrust reverse, we have the Flught settings here. The thrust reverse again, the speed brakes, the big green. So we can also use, as you can see, it's not quite familiar, but you can see the thrust reverse now being engaged here. The blocker door is open. So we have also we can disarm this. We can rearm it. Again, the thrust reverse here and here. You can see the engines here in front and the back side. So again, the thrust reverse, close it down and arm it. So this is for the thrust reverse. We use the thrust reverse mainly for slowing down the aircraft during the landing, and also we have the locker first, so it's okay. So we're gonna move a little bit forward now. You can arm the parking brakes again. I'm gonna show you also so you can see the position of the aircraft. So we have a few more minutes left to go, like 22 more minutes plus 18. So I'm gonna show you the overhead panel. I told you about the thrust levers here, the function. So right now we are inside this airplane, the Boeing 777-300ER. We can use the thrust levers for takeoff. We need to achieve an airspeed above the stall speed of the aircraft to overcome the stall speed. The stall speed is an airspeed during which the the forward wings of the aircraft is gonna stall during its climb, given an angle of attack of the aircraft and also the airstream flow. So we have this aircraft 254,000 kilograms of weight right now for takeoff, about 220,000 pounds. So we have about 20,000 kilograms of passengers and cargo, which is below the maximum, and also we have 46,000 kilograms of fuel on board on the left and the right wing and the center tanker engine. So we have less fuel, we have only 30% of the total fuel. So we are below the maximum takeoff weight. We still need 13 degrees of flaps, and the horizontal tail stabilizer at 4 degrees nose picks up nose up. So I'm gonna show you that. So we need we have 254,000 kilograms of takeoff weight. We need about 154 knots for the takeoff. To achieve an airspeed above the stall speed of the aircraft, and also have an effective lift from the forward wing. So we need about 154 knots, is equivalent to about 270 kilometers an hour just for takeoff. We need an even higher airspeed for landing and then for flying. So we use the thrust levers to increase the thrust ratio of the engine. For the takeoff thrust at maximum about 100% of the N1 spinner ratio. So we increase the fuel flow into the engines, and then we can use the Newton's physics, kinematics and mechanics, the Newton's first, second and third law of motion. We can derive we have the propulsion, forward propulsion of the aircraft using the thrust from the symmetric thrust from the left and right wing engines. We move the aircraft forward, the aircraft acquires kinetic energy. And also using the propulsion of the expanded gases, we have the burn of fuel inside the engines that is expanded and ejected from the turbofan engines, the turbojet engines exhaust. We have the intake of the forward air and the ratio, and also I'm going to talk to you about like this and about some aerodynamics and aeronautical engineering. So you can use the Newton's physics and aeronautical and aerospace engineering, some mathematics. You can derive a lot of stuff about the aircraft science. So we need the thrust levers when we are in the runway. We taxi into the runway over there. We align with that. So we achieve an airspeed, then we can start climbing by pitching up the flight controls. You can pitch a lot more than that, or have more control of the aircraft. So I'm gonna show you a little bit the outside view. So you can see here we have about 12. We have 12 and 33. So I have to be a little bit faster for that. So we have the forward wings of the aircraft here. We can see that the forward wings are the ones that provide. We have the thrust from the engine. We have the forward wings that provide the necessary lift for flying the aircraft. So we can see we have the stream of flow for compressor forward propulsion from the left and the right engine. We have symmetrical thrust. We have the forward wings. The forward wings provide for this lift component. So we have a more flat surface below the wings, as you can see, and we have a much more curved surface. The surface of the wing has a higher curvature above on the top surface. So we use the flaps extension. Also we can use the flight spoilers. So the flatter surface below the wings creates an overpressure as the air stream flows from the forward, from the leading edge all the way back into the trailing edge as the aircraft accelerates to 270 kilometers an hour for takeoff, overcoming the stall speed. The stall speed is the airspeed during which an angle of attack of the aircraft airfall. The airfall is gonna stall, is not gonna generate the necessary lift component. The stall is the lift is equal to the mass of the aircraft times the acceleration of the gravity. So we have higher pressure. The air travels slower in the flat bottom surface of the wing and it travels faster. So we have an under pressure, lower pressure above the wing, the higher corrosion. So we have a differential pressure between the bottom and the top surface of the wing. So this creates the lift component at the given airspeed. We also have here, we have the mean aerodynamic chord position, the Mach, 25% of the Mach position. About here, the mean aerodynamic chord. So we have the mean aerodynamic chord here, 35% of the Mach, and also we have 50%, 75, 100% of the mean aerodynamic chord. This is used for calculating the wing and the airfoil, and also the symmetry of the thrust of the aircraft, and also the center of gravity, the geometric center and the center of gravity of the aircraft, through which all the vectors of the elevator, the rudder, the ailerons and the spoilers are being calculated to transverse through the center of gravity. So you position the center of gravity for an airliner at about 35% of the mean aerodynamic chord, where the maximum aerodynamic lift is being created in this position, and also the stall speed is calculated. The aerodynamic lift is gonna break in the stall speed. So you also can shift the center of gravity of the aircraft forward or aft. This position by moving fuel and passengers inside and cargo inside the aircraft. So here we have the transverse vectors. We use physics again from Newton's physics in aerodynamics aerospace engineering. We have the moment arm. The moment arm is equal to the distance from the center of gravity all the way back to the horizontal stabilizer and the vertical stabilizer rather, and the horizontal stabilizer elevator. So we have this force necessary for climbing and descending the aircraft here in the horizontal tail that makes the forward nose to pitch up and pitch down, transverses through the center of gravity. So we have the moment arm is times the distance from the center of gravity all the way back to the horizontal tail and the vertical tail over the surface area of the horizontal tail over the vertical tail control surfaces, and also the ailerons and the spoilers. Use it all the way to the left and the right, and it's times over the surface area of the wings control area times the air pressure of the air mass per second. We have the air mass flow as the aircraft fly times the acceleration of gravity. This creates the moment arm. We can steer the aircraft around as we fly. So this is the normal indications and also explanations for these for the flight controls of the aircraft, and also the aerodynamic lift and the aerodynamic pressure. So this is how the aircraft will start climbing into the air. Now I'm going to show you a little bit of the flight controls, a couple of components. So we must have approximately about 13 more minutes. So we have the flight controls here. You can see we use after we start achieve the airspeed for takeoff, we start climbing the aircraft, and we can steer left and right. So we can climb or descend. We can pitch up and pitch down. We have the control column for the elevator of the aircraft, and we have the control wheel for the ailerons and the spoilers. We have the directional control. We also have the rudder pedals here. So I'm gonna show you now. As you can see here, we have this flight control. I have this side stick for using the flight control. As you can see here, for moving the flight controls around, I have this side stick for the simulation in my computer that I'm gonna show you now. So you can see we have this Logitech Extreme 3D for controlling this Boeing 777-300ER aircraft. We use it also for the Airbus airplanes. We use for fighter jets or whatever you like. Provided this is a fixed wing aircraft, so we can pitch up and pitch down. We can bang roll left and right. As you can see, we have a proportional, as you can see, movement of the flight controls over there. So having a better view here, so you can see I can pitch up and pitch down, and also I can bang roll left and bang roll right the airplane. So you can see here the position of the elevator in the side stick, and also we have a proportional movement of the control yoke of the Boeing 777-300 aircraft, and also the first officers. So we can use the stabilizer trim. We can use the thrust levers, increase and decrease the position of the thrust levers. So I will show you now the outside view. I'm gonna use some of this lighting system now. Then I'm gonna come to the engine start demonstration. So you can see here we have the flight controls again. So you have the exterior view of that. So I will show you now the flight controls, the horizontal stabilizer, the rudder, the elevator, the horizontal stabilizer, the vertical stabilizer, we have the rudder, we have the irons and the spoilers in the left and right wing and sovereigns. So I'm gonna explain you a little bit of these systems now. So you can see we can pitch up, pitch down, we can bank roll left and bank roll right. We have the attitude control in flight of the aircraft. Again, one more time using we can have neutral, we can have the thrust levers, the stabilizer, train position. So you can see we have proportional movement here in the outside view of the flight control. There is so much for the flight controls lesson, I believe. Now I'm gonna come inside to show you the overhead panel. Let me the engine start demonstration is set up the flight management computer and find this area for the first flight. So I hope you like all this stuff, all this explanation with this. Again, one more time here we have the control here of the aircraft and the engine thrust. So I'm gonna come now inside, show you a couple more things. So we have the overhead panel, we have a lot of 38 more minutes, 39. So we have the overhead panel now. I'm gonna show you the explanations of that. I'm gonna show you a little bit more of this. We have the upper panel, we have again this nice review here. We can see the disconnect here for the horizontal tail. We have the fuel flow to the engine. We have the flap position. I'm gonna set the flaps to take off here at 15 degrees. You can see the degrees, you can set them up. You have the equivalent here displayed. So we have the actual pressure, we have the landing gear here, external track, the alternate gear, the auto brake system. So you can see all this indication is much more nicer, clear view. The autopilot panel. So we have the overhead panel. I started the APU before. You can see in the electrical system. So we have the primary flight computers, thrust asymmetry, the air data emails are reference unit, the audio. We have the left and the right engine, and also the IDGs with the great drive generators. So we have the left and the right IDGs. It's everyone is working, it's driving using inside its gearbox. It drives an electromagnetic alternator that produces using electromagnetic induction, 115 to 200 volts of frequency, 400 Hz alternate current. Use the ITG. The great drive generator, 120,000 kilovolts for its left and right engine, and 120,000 kilovolts for 120,000 watts the APU. We also have the backup generators to be 5,000 kilovolts. All this creativity, or some of which can be converted into direct current using this transformer rectifiers. We also have the battery direct current to the volts 48 ampere hours. Which can be converted also to alternate using the starter converters. We have the hydraulic pumps here, and I'm going to show you, and also the electrical. So we can turn off the electrical system here. The main, you will see the off here, on and off position. So you will see here in the apparatus, the electric generator off right and off left, and the backup generator also in the display, so we can reconnect that. Otherwise we have no APU. We have the APU now. We can start the engine. So this is the main overhead panel. We have the circuit breakers here. We have some systems for the maintenance of the aircraft in the ground. We don't use it for flight. So we have the window seat here. We have the passenger oxygen, ground proximity, the cargo fire. So you can see the hydraulics here. I can reconnect this IDG here also. We have the left and the right engine. We can turn on either way. You will see the fold here. So we use in the auto position. We have also these switches on and off. We have the hydraulic, the air pressure inside the systems, the C1 and the C2. We have the ram air turbine here. So you will see the fault here. You can use this one. We have some lighting systems here. We have the windshield wipers. So we have the electrical, the hydraulic, the flight control computers and the ADIRU, the fire extinguishers, the passenger oxygen. We have the fuel, we have the engine indication, the electronic engine control here, normal and alternate. We have the auto start system here. You can turn on and off the switch. Other way, we leave it in the on. We're gonna use it later for starting. The engine, we can dump some fuel in the flight and select other fuel to remain. We can also select the switch here. So this is to the normal. We have the forward and the aft fuel pump. We have the cross-feed valves. This is the fuel system, the left wing and the right wing, and the center tank of the aircraft. We can turn on and off these pumps. So you can see we have no fuel in the center tank. We have the flow inside the left and the right engine. We have the wing and engine and the ice in the auto on position. You can use the other way. Here's the cabin pressurization. So here's the outflow valve pressure from the left engine and the right engine, and the APU would use the APU pressurizer for starting the engines. We need pressurizer for starting the left and the right engine. The APU for starting the engine, the left and right engine for the electrical, for the hydraulic actually. The C1 and C2. We have also the wing and engine at the ice here. The hydraulic C1 and C2, you can see the air pressure inside and the air conditioning of the aircraft. So some of the systems and the cabin pressurization. So we can turn on and off all these systems here, all these switches, the APU also. You will see how many systems will malfunction now. If we turn off all these switches, you will see bleed off APU, close, high wing, engine, isolation pump. We're gonna lose more systems later. And also we have no cabin pressurization duct pressure. So we come again here, we reconnect this pressurizer. We have also the APU pressurization here for starting the engines, and we have the cabin pressurization system for the cabin. If we use the manual, we have to use the outflow valves on and off for climbing and descending the aircraft and select the landing altitude. We do it automatically. So this is a general view of the overhead panel again of the Boeing 777. Some come here and see this nice display. So you can see the flight management computer here again one more time. I will show you very quickly this briefing the display. So we have the engines here. We have the status. You can see the APU is on. So I'm gonna show you now. We have the APU is on. We have the checklist. We have the normal before start. What we need to do. So the checklist is complete. So we have the normal menu. We have a failure. We have the communications, the navigation, the synoptics here. We have the doors of the aircraft. You can see the doors are closed and the cabin is pressurized. We have the landing gear. You can see the pressure inside the tires. So we need to come one more time with the overhead panel. So we need that. For some reason we have this tire pressure problem. So we come here again in the virtual cockpit, and you can see so we have the hydraulic system, the left and the right engine. In the landing gear, you can see the pressure inside the tires and the temperature of the brake. We have higher temperature. We have the electrical, I told you, the left and the right engine driving. The main battery and the APU voltage and the amperage. Is how many amperes we have. The left, right, IDG, the hydraulic, We can see the pressure, 3000 psi, the left engine, right engine, the electrical and the air pressurized here from the left and right engine. So we have all the systems that use hydraulic fluid. We have the fuel jettison. We have we can arm this, so we will disarm it. We have the left and the right wing, the fuel inside the left and right wing, the fuel flow into the left and the right engine. You can see here the total fuel now inside the aircraft and the APU. We have the crossfeed also valves on. So we'll close the overhead panel again. We'll close this system, the fuel dump. We'll disarm it. So we have the engine, the electrical. So the system is okay. We'll start the engines now in a couple of minutes. So we come in the CDU and display. We have the air system here. This is the left engine and the right engine display. The pressurizer that I told you, all the systems that use hydraulic fluid, air, hydraulic C1 and C2, cabin pressurization, duct pressure, air conditioning, wing and engine at the ice, and also starting the engines using the APU. So I come here in the flight controls. You can see we have the flight controls of the aircraft using this the captains and the first officers. So we have to come here now starting the engines of the airplane. So we go to these modes again. The engine mode, we come into the overhead panel over here. So I'm gonna start the engines, both engines. This is the electronic engine control. So I'm gonna turn off the engines and start them immediately. So you'll see the fuel flow going down. So you'll see the reconfiguration, all the modes here in the overhead panel. So we have the engine shut down now. We come here again with so coupled. So we have now we have started the engine spinning now. You can see we have slower engine spin. So we can start the engine. You see the spinner has started. So we have no fuel flow. So I only have to start the fuel flow inside the left and right engine. You will see what happens. The fuel flow increases rapidly. We have the spark of the engine. So we have the engine spinning faster now, as you can see. Faster and faster, we can take off after that. We have the full engine fast. So we only need to do one last step to complete this flight management computer here. So we come here in the menu. We have the FMC. You can see the model, the position initialized, set inertial position. So we use this airport Lszh. We have inertial position. We have zero fuel weight. The reserve of fuel 5%, 35,300. The climb altitude 35,300 feet. We have the cost index also 100%. The temperature. The route from this airport Lszh over to this airport, departure and destination using this runway. So we have the departure and the fix is the runway. The Lszh localizer with Alpha, so we have the legs here and also the arrival. Lszh 14, we're gonna have the complete route of the aircraft using these fixes. So we close the discontinuity, activate and execute. So we go again. We have the flaps settings here, 15 degrees. The center of gravity, and we have the V1, V rotate and V takeoff for this aircraft. So we go again. We have the route here complete. We're gonna just taxiing to the runway for takeoff. We have a few more minutes to go for this flight. So we need to advance the thrust levers and disarm the parking brakes. We use this pillar here for steering it to the ground. We have like 15 more minutes left for this flight, so we use the pillar here. We can taxi into the runway. We have the runways open here. So advance the thrust levers again. We align with the runway center line. We have the parking brakes on again. So this is where we are right now, and where we're going. We need to adjust to take off here from this runway. So we have a couple more minutes left to go. So you can see we have stabilized the engine. We're ready for takeoff. Just use less range here. You will see we have the flight plan here. We can arm the LNAV, and we move the thrust levers forward. You will see the engine stabilize and increase to the takeoff position. So we disarm the parking brakes now and go. So this is for the takeoff. We only need to align using the rudder pedals now to align with the center line. So we have like a few more minutes left to go. So we have the V1, we rotate and we take off. So we keep climbing. We have the positive rate of climb now. Use the landing gear up after this climb. So we have, as you can see, we have a positive rate of climb here. You can also use more thrust here. So you can see we are just 2,500 feet above the ground level. We have the radio altitude, we have the rate of climb now 4,600, the SP 200 knots. We follow the flight directors. We have the terrain here to display the radar. We have the waypoints. We have 5,000 feet, and we have positive glide 7,000 feet per minute in this view here. We have the stall speed also here. So we'll start making a turn now over here to the next waypoint as we climb. So we have a few more minutes left to go for this flight. So we keep climbing out from the Zurich, from the airport here. So we have a nice view. We're doing a night flight. We use the stabilizer trip. We lost some time actually for this flight. So we have a beautiful nice view. Flying about 600 kilometers an hour, or about 250 meters per second. As we climb out, we can have this beautiful view of the Boeing 777 here. Hope you like it. We still have some sunshine here as we keep climbing into higher altitude. So we have the Boeing 777 here. This magnificent wing view, outside exterior view, the wings and the engines of the Boeing 777. 300 we are as we keep climbing. We have a few more, maybe 9 minutes left to go for this flight. So we need we have also the galaxies here. Keep climbing all the way up to 35,000 feet. We have like maybe We have like a few more minutes left to go for this flight. So we're going to a night flight tonight. So we can see the takeoff go on track. 15,000 feet displayed. So we have exactly like 8 more minutes left to go. So you can see how we climb. 17,000. So we have the waypoints to intercept here as we're climbing up. We have the next waypoint here, the Lszh with Lszh. $19,000 feet. We can see the airspeed is Mach 0.45. We're flying manually right now, as you can see. We're gonna be overflying the Zurich and the Germany a little bit. So here we are, 31,000 feet. We have the St. Gallen Lake here. We have like maybe 7 minutes left for this flight. 33,000 feet. Keep climbing up. As you can see, 33,600. So we might have the chemtrails now, as you can see. The chemtrails and the contrails of the airplane. So we're gonna cross the lake as we fly 33,000 feet and above. So we cross now to Germany from far away. This time we have no time to make the whole flight. So we have the chemtrails again and the contrails as we overfly the Zurich here, as you can see. And the Switzerland, so we're gonna come to a shorter flight. We have the galaxy here, nice view of the galaxies and the chemtrails. The control. So this is our spacecraft for tonight, the Boeing 777 300 ERX. We're gonna come now Fulani. Just with the spark levers down. Retract the flaps and start descending the airplane to a lower altitude. So we need to increase the airspeed now for the airplane for descending into a lower altitude. So we have like 5 more minutes left for this flight. So we're gonna be flying with 900 kilometers an hour or about 300 meters a second. So we overflying Zurich. You can see here in the Switzerland we have a few more minutes to go. We have the max speed now 0.65, and we can come closer into the runway as we keep descending. So we select a new altitude here. We hit the flight level change and a lesser airspeed. So we have also the Ilsloc here, this indication. So we keep descending. We're 16,000 feet, a few more nautical miles away from the runway. So we need to extend the landing gear now and decrease the airspeed even further. We are a few nautical miles away from the runway. "9,000 feet, keep descending." So we are like we have like 4 more minutes left to go, so we overflying this here. We have to use all the flap settings now. We overflying the river. So here we are, just having 4 more minutes. We go through the clouds now. We have the Lszh localizer here, aligned with the Lszh localizer. So we have like 14 minutes left to go for this flight. So here's where we are. We're closer to the runway. We're overflying the river here. So we're gonna come for landing like this. Maybe we don't have a nice view on the outside, but we have like 3 more minutes left for this flight. So we have everything set up for the landing inside the cockpit. So we have like 3 more minutes left. So you have the Lszh localizer. You can see we're flying manually this approach. Also use the auto thrust system, the auto throttle. So we have a couple more minutes left for this flight. You can see the Lszh localizer here. We have the alignment with the runway. We have all the indications of the Lszh localizer, the runway. The glide slope, we are 1,000 feet above the ground level, 900 feet the airspeed of the aircraft. So we are aligned with the runway. You can make a small alignment here. We have like 1 more minute left for this flight. 50, 20, 10. So here we are, just touched down the runway, reverse thrust and reverse thrust here. Parking brakes and reverse thrust. Just touched down the runway. And here we are. We made a much steeper approach and landing this time. Little bit higher airspeed, but we stop normally to the exit of the first, not the last one, taxiway. So this is where we are. Just landed the Boeing 777. You can see we have also over here. I'm gonna have to use all the lights now. You can see all systems are normal. So you can see here. The nose wheel, there's no breakage in the nose wheel after the touchdown. All the tires and the landing gear of the aircraft is normal. As you can see, all the tires are normal. We have this nice night landing of the Boeing 777 airplane. So you can see the nose wheel here is normal. We have no tires breakage either way, neither side. So inside the cockpit everything also normal. So we disarm this flag reverse. So That was Thomas Hatsios, the British-American pilot flying the Boeing 2300ER airplane in tonight's flight from Zurich International Airport back to Zurich International Airport. We will fly over 35 and 36,000 feet to put 300 meters per second or 900